far. Stellar Blade has dropped. It's out now. Controversial and all. Lots of controversies. Was it censored by Sony? Was it the original vision by the development studio? No one knows. Everyone's saying all the right things. Whatever. All I know is in the 12, 13 hours that I've played, Stellar Blade is a lot of fucking fun. In this game, mankind is expelled from Earth after losing the battle against the invaders called the Natiba. To win Earth back, the player becomes Eve. We play as Eve, the survivor of an elite paratrooper squad deployed from the colony, which is where we fucking run off to after the Natiba show. We're like, we got to get the fuck out of here. So we go to the colony, and Eve is sent here to fight through powerful enemies, make some new comrade friends, and to liberate Earth from its captors. Pretty, sci-fi-ish type of fucking action game. And I remember when the trailers came out, I was like, this looks kind of fun, but I don't know if it's for me. I'm not really a Devil May Cry guy, and things of that nature. But a lot of people are like, well, this is more like Nier Automata, which I never played, but I heard a lot of people love Nier Automata. But this came out, the reviews came out, pretty good reviews. A little bit of indifference on some things, but I was like, you know what? I played the demo, and I was like, you know what? I dig it. Combat's fun. There's a lot of people going, oh, it's more of a Souls-like game. I don't agree with that because I suck at fucking Souls-like games, and I'm actually making my way through this game pretty easily, and I'm not even doing it on the fucking fighting assist mode. I'm just playing the combat, having a good time, enjoying it for what it is. So I'm not even going to say it's like a Souls game because it's not that difficult. Gotcha. I get my ass kicked. I'll lose once in a while, but once you learn the moves of the enemies, it's not quite as unforgiving as Souls games.
Okay, so there's
You'll die at times. But it's just not like, oh, you lost all your XP. You got to go back and find it.
It's not like that. No,
you get all your stuff. You're fine. You die.
You got to figure out the
moves.
Right.
Progress the story. You're good to go.
Okay.
The combat is extremely satisfying in this game. It is fucking awesome. It's a combo system that benefits from a parry and a dodge system.
Cool.
So you're parrying, dealing more damage, building up combos, laying waste to all these fucking awesome Lovecraftian-inspired fucking enemies.
Like that, too?
The enemies are fucking awesome in this game, especially the alpha and the elite Natibas. There's a lot of, ads walking around that you got to dispose of, and they're fucking cool looking. And you still got to learn their moves. But when you get to these big battles against the elite and alpha Natibas, they're spectacles, and you're just like, these are fucking dope. And those are the ones where, you might die a couple times, but as you learn the moves are easy enough to learn where you're like, it's not frustrating.
Okay.
It's fair. It's cool. But it's extremely satisfying. There's a skill tree that's really in depth. It's actually a massive skill tree. My understanding is I am halfway through the story missions, and I still have the 3 main trees pretty much kind of full and done, but there are 4 other trees that are still locked. So I don't even know what those are. Now, I'm halfway through the story. My understanding is what I've been reading as New Game Plus is where there's a shit ton more skills. And Paul Tassi, he wrote an article, or he put out a tweet going, Jesus, he goes, if I would have known that this is what this game was like on New Game Plus, I probably would have bumped my score up to an 8.5. It's that different in terms of the skills that you learn and how effectively Eve fights. And I was like, damn, dude. I mean, I'm having fun right now with the basic shit.
Right.
And so to hear that there's that much more that you'll be able to unlock in New Game Plus, I like replayability.
That's cool.
And it just so happens, Tone, that this is a world that I really like.
Yeah.
It's like this post-apocalyptic world set in a Blade Runner type of universe.
Really? It's cyberpunk-esque?
Cyberpunk-esque, very sci-fi, and dude, they have some of the best skyboxes in games. It's just the way they produce some of these the structures that are on these cities. These like I said, it's a very apocalyptic world, but the sense of scale is just massive, and you're just like, it really makes you feel like you're fighting for something. Man, this used to be a bustling place.
Right. They
capture the size of everything, and so it's just this beautiful world that I love to explore. And there's a lot of different enemies all littered throughout the area, and it runs and looks great. It is a polished game. I haven't had one crash. I haven't had a single bug. 12, 13 hours into the story, halfway through, none of those issues that you typically see with some of these other, I don't want to say open world games. This is more like biomes, not fully, truly open world.
Yeah.
But a really well done game.
Okay.
Like, I'm really impressed overall. This is from a studio. This is like their first title.
Interesting.
I think it's South Korea studio. First title, really, really done. The Lovecraftian, again, the enemies are fucking dope. If there's one issue with this game, and I talked about it in the demo when I played the demo, and it's popped up in many of the reviews, the platforming sections are not ideal.
Yeah, that sucks.
They're not great. Well, let me rephrase that. They're fucking cool in terms of how they look, but platforming through them, not so much.
Is it like a camera angle? Or?
Not even a camera angle thing. It's just Eve's movement is so fast and fluid. It's almost like it's a little too loose
Do
to
you
like go
overshoot stuff
all the time.
That's still so
When
you're
you're trying to jump from
basically.
when you're trying to jump from one little platform to another, you're just like, it's not
You
quite
gotta, like,
tuned for that.
Yeah.
And like there was one, I put a video up on X or Twitter the other night where like you basically have to like follow the pattern of like PlayStation symbols. You have to go in a certain order: X, triangle, circle, square. And it's kind of like Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, the part where he's got to do the steps and doesn't want to go through the floor.
Well, he's got to spell Jehovah.
He's got to spell Jehovah. So basically, you got to make sure you do this pattern. And if you land on any platform that's not correct, you fall. And so, like, I'm like, well, that's fucking easy. The pattern's right here. I'll figure this out. 10 deaths later, I figured it out not because I figured out, I was just able to land on the fucking platforms. And like, it's weird because some of these platforms actually have like fences around them. It's like they knew that like if you bump, you might fall off. You might just slide up because the momentum takes you off.
Okay.
And even then, you're jumping and you're like, you don't have like a light jump or a hold down for a high jump. It just feels like it's really inconsistent. So you're constantly either oversailing it or you land and you slip off and you hit another one. So it's super frustrating in that regard. And sometimes when you're jumping to platforms or if there's a rope, she just won't grab it. And you're just like, oh my God. It's just, and then you die and then you got to go back to the checkpoint. So the platforming isn't great. And it does take you out. But at least when you do the platforming stuff, a lot of the rewards that you get at the end are worth it. You get a lot of resources that you need to either upgrade your gear or you get XP that you can use towards new skills. So, I mean, it's worth doing it. It's just like, I wish it didn't feel like shit.
Right.
Because her moveset and everything feels great. The combat is so fluid. It's so fun. But then you take that same movement and you put it into platform and you're like, oh, it's not ideal. It's not ideal.
I hate and there's been MMOs in the past that have done that too, that have added platforming, and you're playing a game like that and it's one way, and then you switch to the platforming side and you're like, this doesn't work.
It doesn't.
That doesn't work. So that's frustrating. But hey, I mean, it sounds like that's a minor complaint compared to how awesome the game plays, looks, and sounds. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, you got to give them credit. The developer, Uplift, I think it is. They have done a fantastic job with like the presentation.
Cool.
The voice work is really good. The story is, it's interesting. Kind of curious to see where it goes, but man, for the thrill of it, it's the combat. It's the combat through and through that you're going to constantly keep going because it's so fun and it's so rewarding. And like I said, as you're ranking up through the skill tree, you feel that's one thing I feel like skill trees sometimes fail is when you're ranking up stuff. Sometimes you're just like, do I even need these abilities?
Right.
Like why am I working hard for these abilities?
Yeah, when I keep using the other two.
I'm using the first two that showed up at the start of the game.
Right.
Like you pick these things up, you learn these new combos, or you know these new defense mechanics, and you're just like, oh my God, it makes life so much easier. And then you start figuring out the synergy and how to use them with your attacks, and it just becomes this ballet of like damage. You're just like, that's fucking fun. It's thrilling. The soundtrack is fucking awesome. It's a beautiful looking game. The combat's sweet. The platforming is iffy. But overall, I'm really glad I made this purchase. I mean, going up to it, I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I kept thinking about my time with the demo. I was like, I really like this demo. I really like this game. It also helps that there's only one game in May, one other game in May that I want. It's Hellblade 2. Nothing else until June, and we don't even know it's coming out in June. So I have lots of time to play this game. And so I do hope to finish it. It doesn't sound like it's a terribly long game. Like I said, I've got 12 hours in. I'm halfway through the story missions. There's about 20 or so side quests. But the appeal of New Game Plus and this whole new set of skills, that makes me wonder, like, what more else is there to this game?
Right. Or when you're going to get back to Red Dead.
Probably not for a while, if ever. I know, man, like I said, dude, it's so weird, man, with some of these games. Like, I know Fallout 4. I was super excited for it. Super excited for Fallout 4. And I played it a couple times, and it's just Destiny 2, going back to Destiny 2, go back and play that shit. And, Witcher 3. Play a bunch through Witcher 3. Just not there for me. Just not doing it. I know, it's weird, man. But eventually I get back to it, kind of like Horizon Zero Dawn, the first one. I played through a certain point. I was like, go back to Destiny 2. But then I was like, I'm going to finish this shit, and I finished it. So, I mean, at some point, I would love to go back and finish Red Dead Redemption 2. I would like to go back and finish Witcher
Horizon
3.
Zero Dawn 2.
I finished that one.
Did
I
you?
finished
Okay,
both of them.
okay.
Yeah, fuck you, man. I finished that shit. I know what's going on. But overall, let us know your thoughts of Stellar Blade impressions, whether you've beaten the game, whether you've just started us. Let us know in the comments below what you think of Stellar Blade. I think it's got a lot of potential. I've really enjoyed my time with it. I'm looking forward to finishing it out and also checking out New Game Plus to see what the fuck else this game has to offer.